Gummed up, brain dead, can't decide. You can't pray enough, you can't hide. You can be cool or you can cry. Do it wrong, not at all, or do it right. No one owes you, no one's to blame. Sit for bad genes or DNA. Ask your conscience the why and how. Do it then, do it when, do it now. What's up, sweet cakes? Who's anyway? Easy. What you gonna do, little buckaroo? Yeah, you gotta do. People is asking now. No, we all can be super fly. GQ, PhD, FBI. You can pretend you.
Hello, and welcome to another No Cap Gaming. I have my cap on, but that is how we roll. Streaming live on LinkedIn and X, and also YouTube and all the rest of it. And I'm not going to go up in that top corner because it says end stream. We have a fantastic stacked panel, and if that fantastic stacked panel could also share the room, it'd be much appreciated. We have some more people jumping in, and we will have more people coming. So today we are doing No Cap Gaming, episode 13. Extra airdrop. Is anything working? Is anything in this goddamn space working? Is it all bullshit? Is it all terrible? Yeah, let's get involved with our stack panel. Right, coming up now. Let's intro, go around the room. Sinjin, we have a wild Sinjin in the house. Give us some love, bro.
Yo, what's up?
Happy to have you here, man. How you doing, man? You good?
Oh, I just got up. It's 2 a.m. in the morning here, and I feel good. I feel terrible that it's episode 13 and this is the first time I'm on. I thought it, I think having a discussion with you guys, I think it's going to be really fun. So yeah, really happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming. And hopefully Dub is not seducing your missus anymore, and that you're happy there and not giving him a massage. I was collecting all the alpha from the previous gamified space.
Yeah. No. They've already run away together, so I'm pretty happy too. I'm looking for my next girlfriend at this point. So yeah.
Well, you are
good luck with Dub and my wife.
Oh, good. So we got some more people up in his house. We've got a random true Nick coming in from Finland. True.
Good evening, guys. I'm really happy to be here. And definitely a random one. It is a storm. So I'm not sure how I ended up in this place. I was supposed to have another one, but the weather definitely made me join this one. Looks a lot better over here.
That's fantastic. Glad to have you. Shaolin, we've got you in his house. How you doing, man?
Doing well. Happy to be here, man. This is always a banger. We got some amazing guests that we haven't had on before, so this is even better. So I love how we've seen all the different beautiful people in the Web3 gaming space come together over great topics.
Always happy to have you, and always happy to get a nice, easy glaze from Shao as well. And we got Demons up in the house.
Good morning. I was feeling sorry for myself for a second with a 7 a.m. spaces, but 2 a.m. blinking eye. I can't compete with that.
It's crazy. So you're calling in from Australia, New Zealand?
Oh, you can't say Australia. That's you can't.
New Zealand then.
That. Love for the Australians. I've lived there for a while. But yeah, I'm coming in from New Zealand. and representing demons, which I'll maybe do one or two mini plugs for. But yeah, looking forward to talking about gaming and getting into a good sesh.
That's going to be great. It's going to be great. And we have coming in hot, I think he's probably still in that sort of screwed over by Elon phase. We have Sam Stefanina. Can you hear us, Sam?
Can you hear me? Is the real
We
question.
can. We can. Great to have you.
I missed everything. Twitter did the thing though where it blacked me out for like 20 seconds. So I have no context, but I'm here, boys.
We were just glazing you a bit. We're like, oh, Sam's coming up. He's awesome. But yeah, it's all good.
Wow.
Are you ready to join us on the NoCap? Yeah, it's cool. So anyway, getting into what we're chatting about is anything working? Is anything working? So essentially, we've got a good shout out to the listeners, to everyone coming in, and we want to go around the room and say, like, what's the wildest airdrop you've ever farmed? What's the thing that you've done in Web3 that kind of makes you a little bit ashamed to be in the space, but you got free money, essentially? So if anyone's got any of those lovely stories about how they just turned up and got something given to them, please feel free to tell us all about it, as we have Soulbound coming up as well. Aero, you farmed anything good?
Honestly, when a play to airdrop comes up, I take it as a signal that it might be something to play, but I never really have done it for the airdrop. It's just, okay, this is relevant now, let's see why, and then I'll play it a little bit, and then I'll forget about the airdrop, because I just kind of assume that I'm going to be disappointed if I play it that way. I'd rather just play a game, and if I enjoy it, then great, and if I get a great airdrop, brilliant. But I've never had a really great airdrop, to be honest. Not that I know of. I might not have known and got a really good airdrop.
I was going to say, you're like Gaspo's third twin today, with that take as well. So Charlene, have you farmed anything interesting? Farmed anything? Won anything?
So what's been interesting for me is I've actually jumped in the InfoFi part of it versus the play to airdrop specifically. I think, whether it's Kaya, which I obviously believe in as part of DLab Games, and for me, obviously Story Protocol and other project that I'm affiliated with. This actually been pretty beneficial. I've gotten quite a bit of tokens, and it's been paid off. Sadly, I'm a builder and I believe in these things, so I can't take money off the table. I just reinvest it back into the protocol. I stake it. I put it back in. Right? Like, you gotta take that. You gotta cash some of that. Right?
That's terrible, man. You should just cash out and run, man. Like, that's the first rule of airdrops: is you just cash out. First rule of free NFTs is you just cash out. It's the golden rule.
And buy back in, right? When it's on the dip, 100%.
Why would you do that? I mean, you're just meant to get 500K, like 500K a month for your pleasure. I mean,
absolutely.
That was a good one.
You can see my face for those who listen. I'm just laughing my ass off. No, you're 100% right. But I think, I'm a believer, I'm a builder. So I get stuck in that non-trader mentality. But I think InfoFi in some aspects of that, or in terms of engagement, in terms of creating posts and education, I also think it fits a little bit. Obviously, we can probably talk about, is it actually worth it? Is this something that's just stupid? And that we're all just being part of being gamified and all these different things. But no, 100%. Other than that, no, I've done it. I did the hamster. Like, the problem is you get so little of these things that a lot of times it's just, to Arrow's point, you just got to play for it for what it is versus spending all your time maybe only getting $100. For those who get more, great for them. They deserve it.
I mean, dude, like, I remember when Axie was like, I have met people who literally just played Axie and they have entire incubators, investment companies, like reputable Web3 businesses. And I've also met people who've been absolutely gutted by it. Sam, have you farmed anything good? Have you got a favorite thing you farmed?
Bro, the only thing I farm is these zucchinis that my fiance planted. I don't know what to tell you guys, man. I don't farm much, man. I'm a certified yapper, but I've made a grand total of $0 off Kaido. Even I just don't. Yeah, I don't do it. I don't know what to say.
I think I got Kaito blacklisted because when I went in there, I joined quite early. And so far, it's not like I try and yap. I didn't even know how to yap or what we're meant to be yapping about. Just carried on with my normal dad jokes. Got 0 yaps, but then actually got an 81 Kaito airdrop. which was crazy. And I used that for food because I'm a founder and I don't farm anything. I just have to turn up and build and let other people farm me. Sinjin, are you farming or being farmed? How's it going, man?
I don't know. I've never farmed. I have tried to provide farming opportunities for others. So yeah, and I've been totally like desecrated and just exploited by bots and multi accounts. And when everyone like bags on certain nationalities, I'll bag on the Russians. The Russians have multi-counted the airdrop campaign that we kind of did before. So I had to basically cancel it all, and then I was considered a scammer from all these airdrop, farmers who, I don't know. But it ended up working out good because then I banned them all, and they're all calling me scammer as well. So then now we don't do any Web3 promotions at all. We don't do any Web3 marketing at all. The space is just horrible. The majority of players in this space are just completely, they're not even gamers. They're just looking for something to extract, which is fine. I get it. But, I'm actually building a game. I actually want to see it grow and stuff like that. So, yeah, I have been farmed. I have never farmed anything, but I have been given certain things just because. But I've also bought into so many projects of other founders who I've supported, and I've held everything to zero as well.
I have also done that, but just without the buying because I'm still skinned. I'm such a brokey in this space. I've made other people bags, and they have probably dumped them on me. I have yet to make my own bag. In fact, I used up all of my bags in 2022 when I put my, I think it was 9F into fucking Discord rewards. Probably the best paying Web2 game that was Web3 that no one ever heard about. So that was a painful lesson. And I'm wondering, right, with the fact that we all know that kind of X is dead, it feels like this is more like Clubhouse now. Like that there aren't really anyone in there as audience so much as just people talking about the stuff they're doing, the stuff they're building. It's almost like it's just an extended conference. And I'm getting the feeling like there's a lot of, if you talk to marketing...
It's that tragedy of the commons. Like we've just farmed everything to the point where there's nothing left to farm.
That is true. I feel farmed out. And it's weird because all of the info fight and everything's been popping off. I have never felt less engagement in the space in a way. Drew, you got a hand up.
Yeah, just about the whole, as well, on the topic, but if we are looking at active users in CT, we currently have around 20-30K active people that could be interested in farming and airdrop. So in general, we shouldn't be looking to make opportunities in this bubble, but to reach out and create invisible on-chain experiences with, monetary incentives to people outside the bubble that we're currently in.
Don't tell the rest of them, True. That's what we're actually meant to be doing. This is like VCs won't like you talking like this. We're just meant to pump up our X accounts so that we get listings. It doesn't matter if you go from a very small amount to 127,000 in a couple of minutes. It's all about getting those likes in and all of that kind of stuff. I am always amazed that there's apparently millions of people who know about the chains in this space because I'm pretty sure that's not the case. But we do know that a lot of airdrops and played airdrops have significantly pumped token prices. So this does and has worked. This has worked for projects in that they have been able to raise. I mean, if you look at say Mavia, right? They faked their numbers, they did all of this, but they did raise. And the question is, are we too sour on it as the space? Is the space now too small? Or do you think this can work? Do you think there is the possibility of, say, marketing agencies will tell you, you create incentive loops and you can do this and you can get people in. Do you think it's still possible to get people in and do something like an activation, a token launch in X? Or do you think you have to reach out and you have to completely avoid it? Love to hear some takes on that.
It's just interesting because there's not just a a gaming component, but there's that massive marketing component about a play to airdrop, isn't there? And it feels like there's less appetite for generic marketing in general, I think, in at least Web3 gaming at the moment. And therefore, there's less appetite for play to airdrop, because a lot of the play to airdrop, it gives you that content to create, and you can obviously farm other things as well, social things around the kind of airdrop campaigns. It becomes just when when the Web3 engine starts stalling, like a lot of things kind of come down a bit. But I think there's still a very like once we start to bridge that gap slightly better with actual gamers, I think play to airdrop, and like especially in like seasonal things like that, having seasonal play to airdrops, or like just incorporating the like kind of rewarding incentivization that play to airdrops bring, I think it will continue to be a big thing. It just won't be so much a part of the marketing necessarily. It'll just be part of the user acquisition.
That makes sense. Sinjin, your hand was up, and then we have Jordan brought up to the panel, legend that he is.
Yeah, I love Jordan. And the panel is really stacked. Yeah, he does. He's a lovely person. I would say like it's never been on X like where the gamers are. We've always been on X because of that was like kind of the extension of crypto, but also this is like everything that everyone has been doing in Web3 gaming on X has actually been to get the attention of VCs for funding or to raise money. And then when that money has pretty much dried up as X as a funding tool, and then you're left with like are there actual gamers here? And I can unequivocally say like there are just so very, very, very few gamers. And the reason why is because I'm a lifelong gamer. I've been gaming literally since like 1979. Okay. And gamers know other gamers. I mean, it's just a thing, right? It's definitely true. And some of the people that are on the spaces and in Web3 that other people may not get along with because they seem a little bit toxic, to me, they're fine because I can tell they're actually gamers and they're just really being honest. And if you're a gamer, even for myself, I mean, X was never, or Twitter was never a real thing, right? Because we would find each other in games and create guilds through there and then connect through whatever Discord or Facebook or even WhatsApp but basically through the games themselves. And so this is not the right medium. But now that the funding's all dried up, the emperor has no clothes, absolutely. And there's really no gamers here. So for me, and our game launch is coming up very soon, we have no Web3 like plans for marketing or anything like that. But ironically, we are a Web3 game, but and as like kind of, I don't know, as stupid as this sound, it's just for gamers, right? So like we're not trying to like target Web3 or the crypto gamers or whatever like that to get this kind of big jump. We just wanted to see whether or not this game will actually work with actual gamers, and they're just really not here. So if the funding component is removed, I mean, this place is pretty useless.
Yeah, I second that. And I think like 90% of the things that we did in my previous games company was the VC dance. It wasn't really to get players. We never touched X for players. We dipped into it to see if they had similar stats to real players, but not anything more than that.
It's one of those things as well. You kind of when you do marketing, especially like social media marketing, you're like, what is the persona that we're trying to appeal to? And if you're a game, the answer to that should be gamers. But it 100%. Never is, because you're always playing the Web3 dance. If that's how you're playing the Web3 dance, you're not really trying to appeal to gamers. You're trying to appeal to content creators, investors, and everything in between, basically.
That is true. Jordan, your hand was up, and then I believe it was Sam, then True, and then Demons, then King Tom. We have a lot of hands to get through, so.
Thanks for having me up. First off, Sinjin, you are also a lovely person, as are you, Mr. Matthew.
Thank you.
But I had to come up because you asked, like, can we bring in new people? Are there new people to bring into Web3? Because you were all just like circle jerking the same 30 people around different bags at the moment, it feels like.
But
And
we
like,
do enjoy that.
But of course we do, right? I honestly, no, I don't. I don't enjoy it at all, and I especially don't enjoy it right now. But my answer is very simple. That's what the games are for, guys. That's like it's amazing. Like, we're full circle here, right? The whole reason why we're bullish on Web3 gaming, it's not what crypto can do for games. It's what games can do for crypto, right? Crypto needs transaction volume. It needs user retention. NFTs need reasons that people aren't just dumping that below floor price. This is what games do. Games have day 1, day 3, day 7, day 30, month 6, year 10 user retention for nothing other than people are having fun. That's what games are retention engines. Right? Everything in blockchain, they are the best.
Making good ones.
Right? They're the best thing at that in the world. And everything in blockchain could use better retention. And so it's like people are rediscovering this core. What's going to bring in the new people is Sinjin making a game and advertising it to gamers. And then some percentage of those gamers being like, oh, damn, this is cool that there's like tokens and assets in here. I'm going to tell my friend, like, that's always been the plan. We just haven't made enough games that are good yet. And that's like the only thing that's happening. And I am absolutely positively sure of this.
And we will get there. As Sam says, we'll bring them up. It is inevitable.
Nice segue. Jordan hit the nail on the head. And I think to draw an analogy here, it's kind of like, imagine if Active, instead of doing, social media campaigns and advertising during basketball games and, advertising during YouTube and getting a bunch of influencers to play video games. Imagine if instead they were just like, okay, we're only going to pitch the new Call of Duty to people that hold Activision stock. And they just got on their fucking quarterly report and we're like, hey guys, you're now 100% of our user base. We're only going to do things that you're really fucking stoked about because you're gamers, right?
And this is horribly true, dude.
Cracked analogy, Sam.
This is literally the best analogy for the space I've heard. Like, imagine if you basically just sat down with your stockholders and you said, right, the next game is for you guys and only you guys who hold the stock can even play it. I mean, I used to like the analogy that imagine if you actually had to like port your money into yen to play Mario, and that Yoshi was a transaction that you had to make every time you opened the egg, and that you'd actually have to change some money and bridge it from your current currency.
Some VC is like opening their checkbook for you right now.
Yeah, it makes me it's so hard.
The best part of this analogy too is whenever you think about what the next earnings report would be like, the next call, like the one after, 3 months later, the next quarter, whenever they're like, guys, what the fuck? Like, why is nobody playing? You told me you were gamers. What the fuck?
Dude, being a gamer all my life is one of the top words, or like, it's basically VC bingo. Like, when you open a call with a VC, being a gamer all my life is like one of the very first things they will say. And then I often wonder what games they actually play, because they don't seem to be that into it, really. Drew, your hand was up. Then we have a whole lot of hands up here. So if anyone remembers, just go for it. But Drew, keep it rolling, Ben.
First, before I get to my hot take and amazing question, we have 35 people in the room and we have only 4 reposts.
Oh, that math ain't mathin'.
Be a kind person, repost the room, click the button, support these guys, and obviously follow all these guys on the table. But quickly, I just love all the takes so far. I think a bit of Damon's pushing here, but I like the way that they're building currently. They're kind of giving an incentive for people to participate in their beta testing. I think that is the beauty in Web3, because there are kind of these technical hurdles with testnets, etc., that can be passed if you give an incentive for people to join the building process of a game.
That is true. Paying people to do annoying stuff, like play Web3 games, is fundamental to the space.
I see it exactly like that. It's if you're releasing a game into Web3, it's kind of like your sandbox, because no one needs to care about it in Web2. You can release it on maybe even a Web3 launcher, support some other Web3 project by doing that, and then you can have your sandbox of people and have a very cheap, hopefully gamer. Game testers.
Never cheap. Like, dude.
Well, at least it's tokens, right? It's tokens, right? And like maybe it'll be going down the toilet eventually, but then you can take your game to the wide audiences once you've kind of worked out the little tweaks in your tokenomics and in the kind of balance of your game.
I do think that you do make a great point there. Like, if you incentivize something to play your game, you can get them to do anything. We had a competition where we put, I think it was $100 prize to see who could survive the longest in our game, partially to test how long you could play it and if this was a mode, and how much people would do for the money. We had people playing. I think the top one was 14 hours that someone played the game on their phone. 14 hours solid that they played this game for $100 in the prototype phase. And it's not that good, even not in the prototype phase. So it's pretty crazy. Was it Demons or Shao next, or King Tom?
I think it was Demon next.
Yeah, Demon.
I'll jump in. But firstly, yeah, some incredible takes here. And Trick, thanks for the shout out there. And Sam, incredible analogy. I couldn't agree more. I think for us, and probably for a lot of Web3 games, marketing to attract real gamers is an absolute dark art. There's, exactly as you said, on X, I think Web3 gaming has really done itself a disservice over the years by marketing a lot more of like the play to earn, play to airdrop, instead of just play to enjoy. And so there's sort of, I feel like almost a somewhere between an entitlement mentality and an expectation, a general expectation that's, when I play a game, I'm going to be earning money, and when I stop earning money, why would I play this thing? And
it's the stockholder thing again. It's that exact stockholder analogy, right? I mean, but the thing is, you can't fault them. You cannot fault them for that. We educated them for this. We grew them up with Axie. We told them about this. We told them that you can make a living out of playing your games. So yeah, and it feels cyclical. What you're saying feels like ever since I was in this space, actively engaging in these conversations, like in 22, the games were saying the same things in rotation. We should be fun. We should focus on fun. Then we were having people saying like, if you incentivize, it destroys the fun. Then people were saying, let's focus on Ponzonomics. Let's focus on actually rewarding people because that's what they're there for.
Casino games.
Yeah, casino games and all the rest of it. There is a cycle to this. And I do think we need to break out of this, and we need to break out of this with real users. And just before I go on, I'll give you an example of what my daughter thinks we should do for Warp as a company strategy. And she was literally shouting this at the co-founder of King from my shoulders. She was saying, Daddy, we need to play lots of games. We get everyone together and we all play games. And then we take the gold from the games and we use that to make more games. So if my daughter thinks this is the way the world works, and that is fair. And I told her that she should contact Gabby at YGG because there's a new season coming up and that's called a guild. So, but yeah, if that seems logical to a kid, the game should work this way and it should just be like that. Can we get there? Who knows? Shall we?
I think.
Oh, sorry, Demons.
Sorry, if I can add one more cycle onto the end of that. I think we're obviously looking at and trying to do lots of different types of marketing, not just focusing on X. But I think one thing we need to crack as a broader industry is making it easier to fund indie and small games coming up. Because I think a lot of the bigger AAA titles even are having trouble. There's a real opportunity for smaller indie games to really come up and provide people a lot of fun and enjoyment. But the current gaming industry is set up so that all of the chains that do exist, whether that is, and I'm not going to start pointing fingers at specific chains, but most are the same in that they want games on their chain, which is fine for them. They, that is their incentive mechanism to want games on them. But gaming itself, like if you want to capture the value or all of the people, all the players in Web3, if you want to be more broadly appealing to Web2 audiences that don't really care about, what's on Arbitrum or what's on Immutable, they want to just play a game that has that has the most wide adoption possible, then we're really not incentivizing like borderless gaming and omni-chain gaming across Web3 at the moment, which is
difficult, isn't it? It's difficult. Like the chains are competing, but they're all in competition with each other, and that's tough because games can win through this. Games can win. I know Arbitrum's just cracked open a whole ton of more money for a lot of games that probably deserve it, and there's some good games up there getting funded.
So this is kind of an interesting conversation because I think it really comes down to also perspective, right? And this is not to take anything away from the speakers who've spoken so far. Having the benefit of working with D-Lab Games over in Korea is distribution, right? I say all of that because we've had some amazing success on Kaya. Why is that successful? If you guys know about Kaya, the 4 demographics are Japan, Korea, Thailand, Vietnam, and Taiwan. These level of gamers that come in that have been part of our ecosystem, yeah, we absolutely have a farm to airdrop. But what we also have is gamers who really want to play, who will actually spend paycheck upon paycheck of their money into the games to help. How have we done this successfully is we've tapped into existing games that we have IP for that have proven success and adding blockchain elements. This has been very profitable for us, but at the same time, it's helped onboard so many more gamers per se, because the familiarity of them. Hey, I played this game. I did well. I understand the game loops. I understand the structuring. And then having something that we've been building for the past 10, 12 years, has been beneficial because we've been in the in-app, we've been in the mobile sector. It's been very successful and fruitful for us. Now, will I say people are doing it because they're farming? Probably. But at the same time, obviously with Southeast Asia, you're going to have those tier 3, gamers that you lean into, whether that's the Philippines, whether that's Vietnam, whether that's Thailand. And then you're going to have your tier 1s with Japan and Korea. So that's all to say that there has been success. I think it's a narrative that hasn't been discussed enough, right? We're all talking, hey, this is all failing, but there are successes, there are positivity within the space that is working, and it's happening at everyone's point, right? Easy access. This is when you do in-app, anyone can play it, right? If you have access to Line, if you have access to Telegram. Now, Telegram actually has been
Kakao.
Yeah, right, or Kakao. Well, that's the problem, right? Kakao leaned into Line because they actually took Kaya and then merged it into Line. But that being said, we're seeing both sides of the coin. We did Telegram first before we did Kaya, and it didn't do well in terms of like LTV, right? Because we're all invested in this. But I will say the other part that you guys talked about that is a big contributor to this is that there are a lot of people who faked making games because of all the amount of grant money that was being provided by Polygon at first, by being provided by so many of these chains that were giving out 50,000, 100,000, 150,000. And it really like, hey, I just got to make a game, put it on chain, and then feed into the frenzy of the hype and speculation of the cycle. And that's why we saw all these runs, because they weren't actual builders who had real experience, like, the guys here I'm looking at on the stream. And so I think that kind of factors into the conversation. So I do think bringing kind of an East perspective on these things and having and knowing these gamers that we also all fall over in terms of like the US and the LTV that the US bringers bring in, the spenders. But I do think, at the end of the day, why the grants matter, not only does it give, actual companies who have real games runway, but the reality too is that these games don't exist without iteration, right? We have to have improvements, and having hundreds of thousands of gamers improves the quality, if you're actually a builder, of course, not just a grifter, to give us the quality data that we need to, create linear regression. So that it's not an anomaly of like, hey, I only have 100 players. Yeah, they have a high LTV, but like, are you getting enough data to actually build better games? Because you need data statistical significance to see, hey, how do I QA this and make this better so I can work out all the bugs? Because all these games that are coming online aren't polished, right? Unless they're coming from a previous iteration or a previous thing. The other thing to talk about too is proper utilization of IP to drive value for these games that people love. I don't think is also being tapped into, because some of these licenses aren't expensive, but you do have a huge fandom, a huge super community of people who love real IP. Imagine making a game for Labubu, right? Boom, you have super interest just based off of the meta currently. But are people thinking
but
of that?
you people are looking at that. But if you are Labubu, you would not go to anyone who's an actual games person. You'll go to someone who's had an NFT project adjacent game that is then relatively known. You would go based on the Web3 clout. And I just want to say, like, to echo your point, 1.70% of all in-apps in Japan were for Puzzle and Dragons. Like, that is 70% of all in-app purchases in a major Western country or Eastern country. However you want to divide that, I don't want to get into any intra fighting over who's a tier 3 Asian or not.
Well, I just go based off of like
we did tier
LTV,
lists last week.
Yeah, we should do that.
No, but I say
we should do that. That'd be horrible.
That's what the interest of builders and of founders are like. Hey, how do I get into Japan and Korea? Because those are going to be the people that we see who have higher LTV. Now, I don't want to take any more, so I know we're kind of
no worries. I mean, my hot take is you get into Japan and Korea by having those games built by Japanese and Korean people. That's generally the best way to do it.
Well, to the last point, right, is we licensed Ragnarok, right? That's our newest game that's coming out. People know it. Obviously, it's Korean-based, Korean IP, but that was low-hanging fruit for us because we've done and worked with Ragnarok before. So that license and that larger community, right? As soon as we built it, we had specific creators like Inhuman come in and be like, I'm going to play that game instantly because I grew up playing that game and I want in and I want to take the opportunities to make money and earn money, because for sure, he did not make any money in the prior iterations that were Web 2 only.
That is bad. That is bad. Soulbound, your arm is falling off, literally falling off, bro. Give us some love.
I'm good, bro. What's up, guys? Now, really enjoying the conversation here. Yes, Marcello here. Really enjoying the conversation. Love what Shaolin had to say. I guess, a lot of points were already said, so I don't want to be a broken record here. I think just to build off of what's already been said, I think that, when it comes to airdrops, obviously, I think in many cases it does bring a lot of the airdrop hunters, the grifters, those types of folks. I guess just, a huge focus, if there's any way of doing it, is, trying to get it in the hands of folks that will, that are going to stick around in the ecosystem and I believe in what you're building over the long run, right? And whether that's added utility, whether that's building an ecosystem over the long run where your token has benefit within that ecosystem. I think it's just really important to kind of think of ways how to get it in the hands of individuals that are actually going to value from that rather than just dump it for a bag and then jump onto the next shiny object. So yeah, I just wanted to add that piece. Also, like another piece is, I don't think we see this enough, but rewarding users with in-game assets rather than a token, right? I think there's a lot of value.
We do that in games. We've been doing that for 40 years, my friends. Sinjin's been playing games my entire life. And I've been playing games probably Sam's entire life. And we've done that from the beginning of time. We have questing systems in games. Why do we need another company to come outside and build those questing systems? And then you have to pay them to build something that takes people out of your game. This is insanity land. It's definitely insanity land. But I agree with you, Marcello. We do need games to give people stuff in the game and that to be fun.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, no, we've already been doing this. I want to see this more in Web3, where I think it's obviously something that works, and I think we just need to do it more, right? And totally agree with you.
Especially if you actually like a game, if you actually think this is a game I could play for months, you're like, hell yeah, if this is the first airdrop, like this could be worth so much to me one day, right? You will grind the hell out of that.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like, if I do, for whatever reason, decide to sell this asset, I'm not going to get banned for selling it on a black market. And if I don't want to sell it, there's added utility to actually using it in the game, right? So it's a win-win.
I agree. Like, utility for the token, or whatever you're doing with that, should be in the game. I do wonder if there should be a mix in these kind of airdrops, mix of things that are not, or they're not, they're more like soulbound stuff, so that you can't actually use it outside the game. That there should be a component that, there is value to this. There is part being the airdrop, but you're really farming it for the juicy in-game items that are soulbound to you and your character, that you can potentially make more money out of should you continue to play the game. And I do wonder if that's a mix that we're ever going to see coming in. Tom?
Yeah, just really impressed with everyone's takes. Like, we could write novels on all the things that are wrong with Web3 gaming at the moment, you know. But I
Some
think
of us have.
ultimately, yeah. I talk about this at length, you know, with multiple projects. I think the main problem at the moment, though, and we've touched on this before, is the continuum between enjoyment and reward. So everybody will do anything for the right amount of money, and that's not a binary. It's linear, right? Like, if you pay me, you know, $5, I'll probably try out, you know, some game that I'm not really keen on. I'd maybe play 20 hours of Hearthstone Battlegrounds or something. You know, if you pay me $100, I'll play any old shit. When we get the quality of games right, then we don't need to incentivize as much. We don't need to offer these, you know, these extractive tokenomics. We don't need to bring in these, you know, South American players who are playing for a living. Obviously, we still want South American players. We just don't want them to see it as a job, right?
I mean, I think there's a nuance here. Like, I'm going to stop you on that because I think there's a nuance. I think the idea of doing this as a job, as a sort of a slave labor, as in you're going to earn a little bit of a trickle for doing nothing, is just exactly exacerbating the worst behaviors that you see in gaming. But there should be no reason why you can't go in that game expecting a return if you play and you're good and you win.
Yes, I'll come to that now. That is in the future of my TED talk.
It is a continuum.
It is a continuum. But the question then becomes, okay, well, how do we get quality games? And surprisingly, what we don't have in blockchain is we don't have innovation. We have 20 people making FPS games. Where is our Among Us? Where is the team that is willing to do something out of the box that doesn't require a AAA studio, that just makes a game that is so fun that people just want to play it and play it all over the world?
I mean, I think you make a really good point on this one. And I would have to say it's because what we've got is innovation squared, right? Mm-hmm. The issue is that if I'm going to fund a project and you tell me I'm going to make a better mousetrap, I can assess where that's going to go, and I might not invest in it because it's a better mousetrap. If you say I'm going to put this mousetrap that's also going to eliminate cockroaches because of this new Web3 tech that's tokenizing mice or cheese or whatever the fuck, and you're doing it, it still looks like a mousetrap, so it handles like a mousetrap, but it's also killing roaches, I'm going to give you money for that. I'm not going to give you money if you're going to add that text to something that says, I'm inventing a laser drone that's going to find cockroaches, laser them down, and also kill mice.
100%.
I'm going to be like, you're batshit. So this is what chains and publishers and that are meant to do, is to foster innovation in this space, you know?
But we don't get that, and we don't get that because it's...
That's why we're building Warp. That's there we go.
I'm also coming to Warp now. So the next logical step then is that we find games that already exist and already are fun, and we offer them improvements, right? Like, I was in a Reddit Diablo 4 forum yesterday, and they were harking back to the days of the Real Money Auction House, which, if you ask me, was the first Web3 economy that before Web3 even existed. And we used to say our PMF was ownership and trading, but we don't really strive for that anymore. We don't see, you know, we don't build great games and then give you the ability to transact in a safe way. So what we need first is we need better infra. And obviously, you know, I'm a big fan of what Gordon's doing over at Warp, and I think you guys are at the forefront of this. We need better infra so we can onboard better games. We need to make it easier, streamlined. We need to have systems where, you know, you don't have to interact with the game code. You can just plug and play Web3 and have a pre-built marketplace, a pre-built ownership model, pre-built trading, and then we'll be able to track them. Like, I'm working with what is currently the best rated ARPG on the App Store, bringing it to Web3, and we're looking at systems to do exactly what Warp is doing. So that's how we win this.
You better be using Warp for those systems.
Well, I'm waiting keenly on Gordon to tell me that he's white labeled his system, because that's unfortunately what a lot of these games will want. Like,
I think he has. I think it's ready for white label.
Yeah, I did ask him to drop me a message when he has. All right. Avalanche is doing so well. Sorry, yeah, definitely seen the after. Avalanche is doing so well because they allow chains to be created for games. You don't have to go on to a chain, right? It's the MapleStory chain. It's the whatever chain, and that kind of white labeling, that kind of ownership is really important for a company when there's liability issues. You know, so being able to have control of that is very, very important. So basically, I'm bullish on infra, and I think that infra is the play, and I think we're starting to see that now. Like, I'm a massive Virtuals bull because I think their infra for fair launches of tokens is far superior to anything else on the market. It takes away all the pump fund shenanigans, you know, the call dump-ins. And I think that's positive. I'm really bullish on Humanity Protocol because I think that solves the botting issue that we see whenever money is involved. I'm really bullish on Warp because I think what you guys are building to facilitate that appending Web3 elements onto games to make them better than they were before is really great. So I don't think Web3 gaming is in a bad spot. I think it's in a period of growth and reflection. And we've spent a lot of time learning what doesn't work. And now we're slowly coming around to the idea of what does.
So yeah. 100%.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. And really, really great to listen to so many people who are so clued into the real problems here.
Crazy takes, really good, amazing panel. You always have good panels, but this has been deep today.
Sinjin, give us some love. I saw your hand shoot up over the infra thing.
No, I just it's funny because Matt, like when you say certain things, right? If it was just you and me in this industry, okay, and we were to talk like 3 years ago, and we were to say, these are the things that Web3 gaming requires in order to launch as an industry, right? And even if we said it 3 years ago or 4 years ago, or even 10 years ago, it would have still always been true. And it would have still never been enacted in this particular sector, because the individuals here in Web3 gaming, because like what Sam said, they're like looking for investment, or they're looking for some kind of like short-term reason, or looking for some certain angle. They completely have not missed the point. I mean, where they're at, it makes sense, but what really needs to happen to establish the industry is like these really fundamental things, which are totally hard to do, and it just simply takes time. So I'm speaking like really like abstractly, but really concretely. My game that I designed and I built out over the course of 3.5 years as a game designer, all of those considerations about original IP, natively designed, what we're going to, incorporate in terms of, player progressions or the in-game economy and so on and so forth. That was all literally done like almost 4 years ago so that I could build out to this point, right? And, how did the market react, right? Like, did they want original IP? No. Did they want a natively designed game? No. And that's funny though, because like as the years have kind of gone by, the narrative has actually has actually come to like what, we have set up. But had we not had that mentality or that understanding at the very beginning, right, we wouldn't have the product that we have now that is, natively designed, which is, revenue generating, designed, and, so on and so forth, right? And this is the biggest frustration, is that fundamentally, the investors that are giving like advice and stuff like that, they don't really understand the real context of what it takes to build a game and where the gaming industry is. Like, if you take a game and then it's not natively designed for Web3 or an open economy, right? The gains that you get from that game may only be minor, or maybe it's just at par competitive. But if we say that the game is really an innovation, then we should be blowing like the numbers out, like compared to Web2, we should be like 2 or 3x. And yet we're only getting like 10% or whatever, and we're calling it a big win because we have some kind of, adoption or some metrics. And that's pathetic. If iPhone came out and it's like only 10% of the smartphone market, would we say that was an innovative win? Of course not, right? An innovative win should be disruptive. It should be game changing, right? And everyone's looking for small wins because the time horizon of understanding or like the scope of what we're trying to really do, it doesn't come through in this kind of group consciousness Twitter talk. And so like I've kind of resigned myself to just sit back and stop participating, because like my mental health has been totally degraded over the last 4 years listening to all these like children. And I mean that in the most patronizing, insulting way possible.
And
I
glad you
hate,
say it, man.
I hate 99% of the people in this space, not because I hate them as people, it's because they're like not even intern level, like actual like thinking. Okay. And the funny thing is like, I would say like the people that I follow and the people that follow me are like the only like sane people in the space out of like whatever 100,000. And you can't believe how many VCs I've talked to which open up, I'm a lifelong gamer, and they know nothing about game development, or they conflate like, oh, these are like mobile, these are like gaming stats. I'm like, no, that's for mobile, right? It doesn't have anything to do with PC, right? And they're like, oh, you shouldn't build a PC game, you should build a mobile game because more market. I'm like, yeah, but I built a PC game. Like there is a market for a PC game. Like the most ridiculous stuff I've heard has been from VCs, and yet, like they are these kind of gatekeepers where all these, and the whole thing
that's
about
who
it
everyone's
is, like,
building for.
yeah. But the funny thing is, like, the reason why we're on X, and even myself, is like this hope that maybe some of the players or investors or whatever will see this vision, and then I'll get lucky, and then they'll give us some support, and we'll get momentum, and then it will be a happy ending. And then, but the reality is, no. If you want real innovation and you want Web3 to succeed and you're a founder, you're on your fucking own. And you just need to fucking climb this fucking mountain on like the fucking north face of fucking death and destruction. And you lose your team, you lose your sanity as you trek up the fucking mountain. And then hopefully there will be the fucking dawn on the other side. And that seems to be the only way, because all the takes that I hear, other than from like experienced game founders who have, like Matt, like you're very much the exception. You're an experienced game founder, but you actually understand the space, right? But the thing is, you also, and like Uncle Funk turn off like half the people because we're so negative all the time, and they're like, oh, these are grumpy old fucks. Like they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They don't have big bags like us, So I'm on this massive rant, but what I'm saying is like it's all useless, like everything, because like every single thing that will come, that people will say, this is what you need for Web3 to be successful. If you didn't know that designing your game 4 years ago to actually build it so it is there, where the game is integrated, it is fun enough, it can, incentivize without like crowding exploitation, it's not exploitable, whatever. Like, if you didn't design that 4.5 years ago, you're not going to make the game. It's not going to exist at the level that you need it to exist. That's robust enough. Okay, I'll stop with the rant.
No, I mean, dude, like one of the things that I always delve into on this is I've been banging on, you probably all got sick of me moaning about NFTs and the fact that there's no innovation in the design, and that designing things like a sword that people craft and then flood the market with and the rest of it, it's just shit. I go on about all of these tropes of skins and things like this, where, as St. John says, the fundamentals of the game needs to be successful and loved in of itself and supported to support a marketplace on top of that, where players can price things accurately by how they perform in a game that they know well, and that they know to the very bones of their existence what this does and how this map works and all the rest of it. The knowledge that a player will acquire about your game is deeper than you. They will know how to break it. They will know how to do this. And this is what I believe that Web3 native design has to be in the core of it. And St. John's fucking right. You are climbing the north face of Mount Shitpile, while people from A16Z throwing tons of money at chains that you don't even know what they do. And they're throwing money at games like Illuvium, and you're like, and you're just sitting there and you see constantly other projects and other things going up, exploding. And it's not nice to say, I told you so. It's not a great position to be in. And we feel like locked out on the outside, hanging on the glass saying, please listen to me, please listen to me. While they're partying and having massive events, wearing Balenciaga from fucking head to toe and looking like fucking pimps and making bad games. That's the shit of it. And this is literally, and this is a horrible and prescient shill, why we fucking made Warp, to come together, to be those founders who are climbing the fucking mountains, and to find those founders who are going to be swept into the Balenciaga ball busting, and get them and say, look, this is what your game needs. Like we sat down a group of founders who were trying to do things that a native ERC token, they were doing faffing around with a cart game. And I looked at their retention and said, this is the worst retention I've ever seen in the last 20 years of doing this. You need to fundamentally redesign your game or quit. And you need people to tell you that. You need people to actually be honest with you and say, your game is fucking terrible and I'd give it a fail as a student project. And you also need people to say, I will lift you up. And your game is rough and it's bad, but you have the right intentions, you have the knowledge, and you have something, you have a sense, a design and innovation that we can build on. And this is what we want to do. We want to bring together fucking great projects that are not doing the same old tired thesis of slapping this on or slapping that on, and make something successful. Like, okay, your first game could be a Web 2 game that's kind of popular and you add a bit of Web 3, but your next game with Warp will be something fundamentally designed from the core to benefit and to grow. Because for me, Web3 isn't about an individual game and a token. It's about being a fucking nation. Like, each studio is a nation. People hate Ubisoft and play their games. People like EA games. People like sports games. People follow that brand. Your brand is your studio. Your studio is your token. It is your shares, as Sam rightly pointed out. And you shouldn't be making games for your shareholders. And this is really the whole thing. And I'm just absolutely blown away by the quality of the discussion we've had today. Flawed, you almost rendered me speechless. Jordan, save me.
Balenciaga catching strays in the debate here. We don't have to drag fashion into this, you know.
It's because I can't afford it, bro.
Well, now I have a different thing to say, but just to tag on what Sinjin was saying, it's there's only so many times you can say it, and it's not what people want to sit around and be like, what's wrong? This is the problem. It's just a skill issue, guys. And it's not like it's not a judgmental skill issue. This is incredibly hard to do skill issue. And a whole bunch of people acted like it wouldn't be, right? It's that simple. But it's incredibly hard to make a game and have people actually want to play it. It's incredibly hard to balance a digital economy. Look at DeFi protocols, how many of them go up in smokes after, a hot few months. Now combine both of these things with a whole bunch of never before done mechanics and completely unanswered, untested questions. It's been a few years. Like, we're right on schedule. Everything's going fine. But don't ever forget that the VCs, these Balenciaga founders, they made their money, right? Because the promise, they're like Sinjin was talking about, why are you advertising a game on, you're advertising a game on crypto Twitter because you're playing the I forget what we were calling it, right? But this like merry-go-round of, you need the
Web3 dance.
Web3 dance, merry-go-round, right? You need the numbers to get the investors. You need the investors to pump to build the project. You do all of that so you can launch the token or sell the NFTs or whatever else, and then you justify
it right there when you said you need the investors to pump the numbers. You need the numbers to get the investors. You need the investors.
I can't even. I'm over here trying to spin,
being built in there,
and I'm getting dizzy. But the thing, don't forget, they're not misinformed. There was just an arrangement and they followed through on it, right? And that's why people are so forgiving of crap games in this space, because we're not talking about gamers. We're talking about investors who want to buy a thing to make money on. And so there is a secret handshake in every bit of conversation in this space, which is like, we're both agreeing we think if we say this, the number will go up. Right? That's like the truth underneath it. And if you hear that, you see through everything else, because it's never useful to just stare at a situation and be like, it doesn't make sense. Why is it like this? Like, you have to understand why it's like that in order to be able to sidestep it. Right? And just like, don't ever forget, this space in the last few years is not a series of people breaking, failing at their goals and breaking promises and falling apart. It is much more often a series of people succeeding at their goals and following through on promises, and you just weren't a part of those.
Yep. We are certainly not in the 500K a month distribution arc, because in a way that doesn't make sense. You could literally, acquisition costs for casinos can be $500 for a social or for a casino game. On mobile, they can be extremely high. You could give people $500 on crypto Twitter to play the game. Would it be better than giving it a price? Who knows? Would it be better to give this or that to someone? Who fucking knows? What we do know is that the money goes round, the machine turns, the Coles get money, they reinvest that into the games. Those games make sometimes the Coles money, sometimes the VC's money. Sometimes the Coles give the VCs back money via the second project or the third project. At the end of the day, the liquidity cycles, and if the market goes up, it all goes up. And the rising tide is one of the things I think we forget, is that when the market widely rises, kind of doesn't matter what we do, as long as stuff is being done, that it goes up. And I just want to say, absolutely fantastic. I'm aware of time. I know people have to start jumping off. I would like to give Demons and King Tom the last word. If you keep it, otherwise I'll rug your asses.
Go on then. I'll jump in. I'll jump in first. Firstly, it's been a pleasure to jump in and hear all of the takes here. I want to connect with all of you guys. It's been great. I'll just I'll wrap up on a positive note, because I feel like we've this has been lethargic for many. I feel like I've loved hearing the rants from the various speakers here. It's been great. But on a positive note, I'll say that Web3 gaming or Web3 in general, there's a bull case here in that I don't think many other industries in the world, maybe none, would get people up at 2 a.m. doing a spaces, would get people making and breaking things as quickly as in Web3. And so if we can channel even a fraction of that determination, and yes, I know that a lot of that determination is to make money, but if we can channel even a fraction of that determination into making good product and iterating on good product, then I think that we're in a really good space to actually create some pretty amazing things in the coming years. We just need to channel that in the right way and align the incentives better. And I think one of those incentives aligning things is making more games that are on multiple, if not every chain, or as many chains as possible, which is one of the theses that we're bringing into our product. But that's the last I'll say. And it's been a pleasure.
Understandable. And I think I would actually be rich if I could find a way to tokenize my disappointment, or tokenize my rage, or tokenize my impotent anger at not being able to get shit through. That makes just all the sense. But yeah, it's been a fantastic space, and much love to everyone for this. And join us next time, same time every week, 3 p.m. EST. No Cap Gaming. Still got hair. For how long? Who knows? But yeah, it's been a pleasure, guys. Take it easy.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.
Cheers.